This is STRATCOM Info summary for the last week. A significant increase in enemy assault actions was reported along the defensive line of the Pokrovsk agglomeration this week by the 7th Rapid Response Corps of the Air Assault Forces of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, whose units are responsible for this sector. On the 5th of November, Russian forces carried out 30 assault operations, compared with an average of 13 per day last month. The enemy continues to employ armored vehicles near Myrgorod. At dawn on Wednesday, the 38th Separate Marine Brigade, together with neighboring units, repelled a mechanized assault. Since the beginning of November, defenders of the Pokrovsk agglomeration have eliminated around 300 Russian invaders, while more than 100 others have been wounded, according to the 7th Corps of the Air Assault Forces. In Donetsk region, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, General Oleksandr Syrskyi, conducted a working visit to the area of responsibility of Ukrainian forces, hearing reports from field commanders. According to the official communique, clearance operations continue in the Dobropilya salient, forcing the enemy to disperse its forces and preventing concentration of main efforts near Pokrovsk. President Volodymyr Zelenskyy, accompanied by General Syrskyi, also visited defense forces units in Donetsk and Dnipropetrovsk regions this week. The president assessed the operational situation near Pokrovsk and its outskirts, met with service personnel and discussed the frontline situation, supply and logistics, rotations and brigade manning. He instructed the government to increase funding for corps operating in key sectors. The defense forces of Ukraine have received Patriot air defense systems from Germany and 21 Patriot armoured personnel carriers from Latvia, completing the previously pledged batch of 42 vehicles. These new APCs will enter service with the Special Operations Forces. Latvia also delivered 12 CVR-T reconnaissance vehicles, part of an earlier announced military assistance package. The General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine confirmed successful strikes against the following facilities in the Russian Federation: Lukoil Nizhny Novgorod refinery in Kstovo, Nizhny Novgorod region; Sterlitamak petrochemical plant in Bashkortostan, which produces aviation fuel components; Volgograd refinery; Tuapse refinery in Russia's Krasnodar region; Saratov refinery. Additionally, Defense Forces units struck 3 fuel storage sites in temporarily occupied Crimea and a fuel depot in the occupied part of Kherson region. Ukrainian forces also targeted a Shahed storage, assembly and launch site at the Donetsk airport. In cooperation with the resistance movement Chornaya Iskra, a transporter-loader vehicle for the Iskander operational tactical missile system was destroyed in the Kursk region, along with a Garmon radar station used for air target detection and tracking. In Crimea, confirmed strikes destroyed a command post of an S-400 Triumph air defense battalion, an airfield radar and a Terek radar station. The Russian terrorist army continues to destroy civilian infrastructure in peaceful Ukrainian cities and villages, deliberately targeting electric substations and heat generation facilities that have no relation to military objectives. This week, 6 frontline regions suffered the most. Russian forces again destroyed residential buildings, hospitals, schools, and kindergartens, causing multiple civilian casualties. In Nikopol, an ambulance transporting a patient to hospital came under direct enemy fire. Since the start of the full-scale invasion, the Russian Federation has committed more than 190,000 war crimes in Ukraine. According to the Office of the Prosecutor General of Ukraine, during a meeting with representatives of the United Nations Independent International Commission of Inquiry, over 1,000 Russian military personnel have been served notice of suspicion. 747 indictments have been submitted to court, and 206 individuals have already been convicted. The Prosecutor General's office stressed that the scale and systematic nature of these crimes demonstrate a deliberate genocidal policy by the Russian Federation against the Ukrainian people. The Ministry of Defense of Ukraine is preparing updated contracts for service personnel, introducing fixed terms of service from 1 to 5 years. For all contracts except the one-year term, a one-year deferment from mobilization will be granted upon completion of service. Once the relevant legislative amendments are adopted, the new contracts will be available to all those currently serving and those planning to join the armed forces. The ministry also plans to introduce sign-in bonuses, increased monthly payments, and expanded social benefits. We will prevail. Produced by the main communications directorate of the Armed Forces of Ukraine.